compositionally from how he likes to, how I like to profile. You know, the thing about all this is it is just a style reference. You do still want to put a little bit of your twist on it, your kind of inspiration. You don't necessarily want to just copy him verbatim, right? You know, and that's what I try to do with adding different layers of texture or different colors or different, you know, style. You know, I'm not trying to necessarily copy him. I'm using him as a big inspiration. A big inspiration. I'm not going to shy away from it. I love his work. I love being graphic. Before I did art for animation, I did graphic design, so that, you know, shape language kind of follows me a little bit. So we'll kind of start sketching just a little bit. I know I'm in the mood to kind of put a tree here. And play with this. And maybe I'll have a little path. You know, hope everyone's having a good day so far. So maybe this is a tree, maybe this is a tree. And then maybe we have some hills in the background and some more trees, right? Like I said, I am a terrible sketcher and I do not shy away from that. And maybe I'll throw in some deer right here. Just say, get the deer here. And one of the, if you look at, I'll jump back and forth a little bit here. And if you look at Eyvind Earle's like deer styling, they're very long and tall. And oh, where'd you go? Sorry, lost my place here. I need to like to work zoomed up. Hello, I see a question. So I like working out and thinking like it's like a thumbnail. So I'll stay pretty zoomed out for most of it until I get kind of closer. Because I kind of think if it doesn't look good small, it's never gonna look good big. And you know, as I get into like maybe cleaning stuff up, I'll get really close in here, you know. But most of the time I kind of stay a little further out. And I'm sorry if it looks extra small. I have a big 27-inch Cintiq, so that might be making it look small, but it is fairly small on the screen too. So so I'm going to sketch a little deer in here. Kind of going from that. I never found that, did I? I'm so sorry. So should we see this deer? Yes, here they are. So he kind of does these deers very simple and graphic. And, you know, so I'm going to kind of emulate that. I'm not going to think too much about design. You know, I might even, you know, skip necessarily sketching it loosely, right? And maybe I'll draw it back up a little bit. I'll draw it with a pen tool. Or, yeah, this is another fun way to sketch to get like a cool graphic shape is to use the line tool over here. The shortcut is U if you want it to. You know, so maybe I'll drop this down. Like I kind of know where I'm going with this, right? No, I'm gonna have this big tree, maybe a path, maybe another tree in the front. Kind of thinking in terms of like threes with everything. So I'm gonna keep thinking in terms of threes. I'm gonna design some deer that I think will be cute. So I'm gonna do these on their own layer so I can size them around as I wish. You know, that's the great thing about digital is that you can kind of just go in and play with it, make it your own. This might not come out just how I want it to on the first try, but that's kind of what I want here. So I am just thinking very much like Eyvind Earle and designing a deer. And it looks like a llama right now. That's all right. You know, back. Maybe a little tail. Again, this is just a sketch, right? So, I did that. It's not quite perfect, right? But maybe we want it to be a little taller. Maybe we want it to be a little longer. Use Photoshop tools to your advantage. Don't necessarily. By the way, this depends for everyone. Some people, it's like go draw to your heart's content. If you like being a line artist, go be a line artist. Go make everything perfect. I like to work kind of by the seat of my pants and just kind of have fun, especially for something like this. These cards are not work to me. They're not anything I expect to make money off of or sell. They're just for me to have fun, right? Kind of my little like stress outlet or something like that. So maybe you like that. Maybe I think his belly's a little funky, but we'll get there in a second. So I know I want to have three of them. Maybe we'll have like one guy's a little bit bigger, two smaller ones. Trust me, as we get into it, this will all start to look better. Transform. Okay, maybe we have two, and this guy's this way. And maybe they're all looking the same way though, so we can just take this, flip it around. Boom. We got ourselves some deer hanging out. So I'm kind of liking that. I don't like how their legs are all looking. So I'm gonna just chop them down a little bit. It can be in the snow, right? On different layers. Right. So that's kind of it. That's our sketch. We're gonna go with that. We're gonna see where this goes. Okay. Um, now, depending on your process, your progress, your late, I don't know where everyone is at in the production pipeline, not the production pipeline. I don't know what everyone is at on their skill journey. Sometimes I make a sketch way more detailed. Sometimes I make a color key. Sometimes I don't make a color key. Sometimes I make a color comp. Trying to fit all this in as much as I can to give you guys like a real demo as we go. So, what I like to do is sometimes I do little color keys. So I'm gonna do a really quick color key. When I worked at Disney, my amazing art director, Alan Bodner, if you don't know who he is, he directed The Iron Giant, the Tangled series, Impossible, and a bunch of other really cool shows. And I got to work under him for 3 years. And I do color comps for him. And he'd be like, why are you taking so long? It should take like 5 minutes. And I was just like, oh, okay. But so I learned from him to just go, really quickly with these. And so I know I'm thinking in my head, I'm going to do something kind of blue. I'm looking at Raphael. I hope I said that right. Raphael Santiago. Do you like to line your rough lines before you start painting, or do you just go for, oh, awesome. Or do you just go for it and go straight to painting? It depends on what I like. For like my personal stuff, I kind of just do these rough lines and start painting. And since I work like with the shape and the alpha lock, it's easy for me to edit the shape, right? So like I'm just trying to get an idea down and I'll kind of edit it as I go. I've done this enough times now where it's kind of like a method to the madness for me, right? Um, so, it's a snow piece. So this is just going to be a sample of a really quick color key, right? We're going to go in here. We're going to get this nice like white kind of color. White kind of color, it gets like that. And we make a little. See, the beauty of doing this with all these different layers of shapes, just like with snow, is I'm like, oh, I want it to be taller, right? Okay. Now I want to grab the tree. I want the tree to be kind of maybe blue, like a darker blue, something like that. Maybe. We'll see. So I'm just right now, as I'm doing this, I'm just grabbing shapes really quickly and trying to get the idea down for the color key. So this is not part of the final painting. This is just me trying to figure out what colors I'm going to do before I start doing it, right? You know, and I'll do this in a second. I'll play with, so grab some, make some more trees. So for this, I'm just using the lasso tool. I'm not really thinking too much about the final design yet. I just want to kind of get my feeling down. And there's a fun energy to this too. It's, you know, you want to make these kind of fun and pop and everything. And right now I'm being very messy with my layers. You know, like I said, when you're doing personal stuff, that's okay. When you're doing production design stuff and you're handing this off to other people, you want to make sure you label everything. But even for this, I wouldn't label everything right here at this point because this is simply just a color key for my own purposes. And I'll explain to you how I edit the color keys in a second. Right now, I'm just kind of throwing down general colors. Just grab something kind of deer-like. Gotta put it in front of me. Get that, duplicate it. Get a little smaller. Duplicate it, make it a little smaller. Transform. And like that. Turn these into one glare. This is too light. So once I kind of have this like really loosely sketched out as a color comp, you know, like I said, this is just a color key. Right? Don't think too much of it. You know, I can go in here, add a second side to this, a shadow. I have to give all these guys shadows. When I'm painting, I think I, as a beginner at least, always like to overcomplicate things and kind of forget that everything is just really one color. And what I mean by that is like a tree trunk is brown, right? The light might hit it, but that doesn't change the integrity of the tree trunk being brown, right? So I just think very simply now in terms of light and shadow, but all kind of keeping it in that local color, right? So this is the light side of it. No matter what I do to it, the darkness and the saturation shouldn't actually change the hue, right? The hue should stay the same. I can change the value, making it darker, right? I can change the saturation, adding more to it. But as long as I'm not changing that hue, I know it's definitely at least still the same color. And like I said, with this, the easy part is it's easy to kind of move things around a little bit. So like now I have this like really, really, really rough colors out. And what's cool about this is since everything's in its own different layer, I can kind of use different tips and tools to like harmonize or change it. You know, like let's say maybe I don't want it to be blue. Well, I can just use this cool little thing called hue saturation or Command U and change it, right? Maybe I don't want it to be blue at all anymore. Maybe I want the whole thing to be pink, right? We can just come in here, start playing with different colors. And like, I don't know, this is just really fun to me, right? Like, maybe I want it to be blue and purple. Maybe I want the deer to be red, you know? This gives you an opportunity to kind of just explore different color options without, you know, being, you know, super committed to, oh, I locked in too early on, right? You know, I hope this makes some sense and someone finds it kind of cool. But like you can do this as many times as you want, right? So, you know, we have the rough sketch, we have the color idea. We can keep playing with it, right? For simplicity, I will do this much like they do on cooking shows, where I will pull up my one I did earlier, bam, fresh out of the oven, right? You know, so same sketch, right? A little bit more time. I don't want to bore everyone with all that. But it's kind of the same idea, very quickly done.